Today, we are diving into something truly fascinating: the invisible line that connects ancient myths to the high-tech battlefields of the 21st century. We're going to explore how stories that were forged thousands of years ago are, believe it or not, still shaping how modern wars are fought and won. It seems like a total contradiction, doesn't it? I mean, modern war is all about cold, hard data. We're talking drones, satellites, precision strikes, the whole 9 yards. So what on earth does some mythical god from ancient Japan have to do with any of it? Well, that's the big question we're unpacking today. And the answer is way deeper and a lot more relevant than you might think. To really get what's happening now, we have to go back. Way back. Back to the source of the myth itself. So let's meet the divine warrior who's at the very heart of our story. This is Hachiman. Now, in Japanese culture, he is a huge deal. The god of the bow and arrow, the god of war, and most importantly, the divine guardian of the entire nation. He was the go-to deity for the samurai, a powerful symbol of skill in battle and heavenly protection. But his story? It definitely doesn't end in feudal Japan. You see, Hachiman isn't just a one-off. He's a perfect example of something you see all through history in almost every culture: the divine warrior archetype. Think of Ares for the Greeks or Mars for the Romans. It's this recurring figure who represents a culture's best martial virtues, who gives a sort of spiritual green light for war, and who inspires soldiers to push past what they thought were their human limits. Okay, so how does this ancient idea actually jump off the dusty pages of a myth and land right in the middle of a modern battlefield? Let's make that connection. And here's how that switch happens. You can see how it maps almost perfectly. The ancient idea of a divine protector gets a modern makeover as the soldier's role as a guardian. A sacred mandate from the gods becomes the belief that the mission is a just cause. And that feeling of having supernatural power, that translates into this powerful sense of higher purpose, maybe even a feeling of invincibility, which can be a huge psychological edge in a firefight. And of course, it really amps up that us versus them mindset. So, how do you do this on purpose? Well, it's kind of like a three-step playbook. First, you adopt the symbols. Think about ancient icons showing up on modern gear, or military operations named after mythological figures. These are not just cool names. Next, you invoke the spirit. You talk about the mission in terms of destiny or protection. And finally, you harness that power to forge an unbelievably strong unit where everyone is bonded by this shared, almost spiritual belief. And this is where it gets really, really critical. We're talking about the deep impact these old stories have on the human mind. This is how myth becomes a genuine psychological weapon. This quote just says it all, doesn't it? A soldier stops being just a person with a weapon. Suddenly, they're part of a legacy, a living link to an ancient, powerful ideal. And that belief can totally change how they see themselves, their mission, and what they're capable of when everything is on the line. And you know what? These effects are totally measurable. Tapping into these powerful myths has a direct, real-world impact. It seriously boosts morale, it makes the bonds within a unit rock solid, and it can even make a soldier more psychologically resilient when facing trauma. It's like it provides a mental framework to make sense of the absolute chaos of war. And hey, this isn't just for the soldiers on the front line. This same kind of mythical storytelling is used to shape what everybody back home thinks. It helps an entire nation see a really complex conflict in simple, powerful terms. As a righteous fight of good versus evil, with their soldiers acting as the brave protectors of their way of life. So after all of this, you have to ask, why do these ancient stories still have such a tight grip on us, especially in our supposedly modern, logical world? Let's boil it all down. Here's the most important thing to take away from all this. We have to stop thinking of myths as just dusty, irrelevant stories. In war, they are active, living technologies. They are tools. They are basically operating systems for the human spirit that can be booted up in a crisis to inspire people to do extraordinary and sometimes absolutely terrifying things. And all of that leaves us with one last really big question to chew on. If the old myths are this powerful, what new ones are we creating right now, in our own time? And what kind of mark will they leave on the battlefields of the future?